going to start looking at what you can do with building blocks. Building blocks are these neat little things that can be added to the Generations program at any time. If you own the Generations full system, your system already comes installed with a set of default building blocks. If you do not have the building block bar at the bottom of your screen, just go up to View on your main menu, and then Toolbar, locate your building block bar menu list. Go ahead and place a check mark next to it, and your building blocks will open and display on the bottom of your window. The program comes with a set of default building blocks. Some of them are for very small lettering, some of them are for basting or for banners for monogramming, and then there's borders, buttonholes, cameos, corners, decorative buttonholes, decorations, edges, floral, insects, and seasonal. You also have an option for My Blocks, and this is where you can save your own building blocks at. You can also rename the folder if you like. We're going to look at what we can do with the built-in building blocks, and then as we go along in this series, we'll start looking at how to make our own building blocks. Let's go back to our decorations. In the decorations, you have all these little tiny pieces. Well, if you just want one of these tiny pieces to add to a design, you just press your left mouse button, hold it, and drag it onto the screen. And you can see there I have a finished design. Now, this is the beauty of building blocks. I can resize this to any size that I want and generate, and the programmer will recalculate the stitches. I can also edit. As you can see, this satin stitch area here is a little bit too wide. So I can right-click on the sections, and I can go into my property settings and say, let's go ahead and enable a satin fill. And you can see now I've changed that because I changed the size. So that's one thing that you can do with building blocks. You can use any of the other features in the Generations program, such as adding text to this. So I'm going to go ahead and add hearts and flowers, and I'm going to resize this to make it a little bit smaller because that's not that big of an area, even though we resized it. And when I said you can use any of the features, you can, any of the editing or any of the design features in your Generations program. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and say existing outline, and we'll offset it by about 2. And I want to go ahead and place these letters all the way along this border. And I might need to resize those letters a little bit smaller, but you get the idea. So that's one of the things I can do with the building blocks. Now let's look at what else we can do with our building blocks. We're going to look at another feature, and what we do is we double left click on this, and this is a continuous feature. To use this feature, I place a left click to anchor the design or the wireframe design, and from there I can either place a left click here and just create the item, or I could place a left click and I can rotate the item, or I can place a left click and I can right click to flip it and still rotate the item. That's a continuous input option, and it does show up in wireframe until I generate. So using that continuous option, I can use all of the tools in the Generations program. So let's go ahead and look at how to do this a little differently. So I'm going to go ahead and select this, and I'm just going to create a bunch of these across the screen just with left clicks, and you can see they line up perfectly right next to each other using this left click option, right? And I do want to place a bunch, so these are all going to be aligned, so I don't really have to worry about them being too even unless, of course, I move like that. Okay, so here's all of my designs that I've placed in there. Now I'm going to press and hold my left mouse button and drag around all of these. And I'm going to use my aligning tool. So I'm going to align them at the base, and then I want to space them. You can see they've now all spaced out evenly on the screen. But that's not the only aligning tool I can use in the program. We have a tool that's called Super Align. To use Super Align, I come down here and I select the Super Align tool. The Super Align tool allows me to take building blocks or any pieces of the designs that I have and align them and treat them kind of like they're lettering. So I'm going to go ahead and say, let's make an ellipse. I'll leave them above the line for right now. And you can see they automatically get placed on what's very similar to a lettering text path. I'm going to drag my ellipse, and these will automatically snap to the shape that I've drawn. I have all of the tools that I have in lettering to reshape these, spread them further apart, place them closer together. I can elongate the design, or I can shrink it down and create some unique things. And I can always go back and edit and change my text path. So now that I've got this neat little frame, what I want to do is use another tool in the program, and I'm going to color sort them. So let's go over to our color bar, double left click on the color chip, right click on one of the shaded areas, and say move to top. So now I'm color sorted, and I just need to regenerate to allow the program to recalculate the stitches and recreate my in and out points. And that's a few of the features of the building blocks. We'll look at more of these as we go along. Now, if you haven't been to our website lately, we've added several new building blocks called designer building blocks. These are pieces that you can just drop into your program, and some of them are created to do just what we did here. You can drag the piece up here, and then you can double left click and create a border. And there's one of our new sets called Winter Ice. Or you can use a set like Wine Please and just drag and drop something onto your screen. That's pretty much a complete design already. Something like this you might just want to, maybe add some lettering to. Let me align those. Generate to place the stitches in the design. And of course, double left click on the color chip, right click and say move to top to color sort the design. Now that we have our design, I've mentioned a lot of our new building blocks, and for those of you who haven't been to the website in a while, let me show you where they're located. If you go to the Generations website, which is generationsemb.com, you'll see our front page. To get to the building blocks, you're going to go into Software and Great Accessories. In the Accessories, there's the building block link. You can also go to Creative Corner and go to Design Central. Let's go ahead and look at the building blocks. The new building blocks are shown in the list here, and if you click on this, you'll go through the film strip. But here's one called Fleur de Lis. Here's another one called Baby Mine. And you can see as you click through these or let the film strip play that you can see all of the different building blocks. Expand your Generations program at any time by adding the building block sets to them. Thank you.